The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM. The living room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know that Ricardo's finger is healing well and that you're locked onto the true nation station WACK 90.1 FM where we are.
Culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's start this program off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and say it with the chest that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott, where the P this week stands for
Pakistan.
Yeah, now. They said that this is the first time the West Indies has won a test match there in over 35 years, which means that I think Kemar Roach was 4 when that happened. And the majority of the other players weren't even born as yet. So I know we lost the first test inside 3 days.
Yep.
But we won the second test inside 3 days. So balance has been restored to the cricketing universe.
All is well, unless you're Pakistani.
Unless you're Pakistani, well, hard luck for you. We from the West Indies, so we celebrating that. One thing I will openly say, I did question the selection of Jomel Warrican. I did question it. He proved me wrong, and I'm happy to say that. 19 wickets.
You have a tendency to be wrong at times, so I could do.
To is natural, Ricardo.
I know nothing about that. I do want
so just
to
no. So you have never been wrong in life.
I have. I am wrong fairly often as well. Something like 2.4% of the time.
That is often.
But yeah, compared to never. I mean, but I do want to apologize, one, for bringing up cricket when I did not see I didn't see a ball bowl.
Did anybody see a ball bowl?
And I also want to
I was watching India play Australia. I was watching the Big Bash cricket tournament. I was watching the one in Dubai, all on Flow cable.
Cool.
I only caught highlights of the West Indies women Bangladesh series. So I would be surprised if anybody within our region saw a ball bowled, a ball spun in the series.
I also want to apologize for several things actually. So the P this week is for Pologies. We had some horrible audio. I don't think it was last week. I believe it was the week before. So I want to apologize for that. I was unprepared for the recording. I'm hoping that we don't have that problem again. And also, my voice is a bit raspy. Yeah, but that's because they're doing some renovation at home, and the whole house is concrete dust and tile.
In the face is dust.
All I'm saying is that even a process that can improve quality of life is not without cost, and it is not without discomfort. So I just want to apologize for my vocal quality this week, and also for subjecting the listeners to a majority Aaron show this evening.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Well, hey, add it to the list of apologies.
I don't like that. You could have preempted that a little better, because then I would have prepared a little more material for today's show, because I do have some salient points that I want to bring up and for us to discuss.
Prepare material, Aaron. We're professionals. We don't need to prepare for anything. We just show up and it's
actually we do need to prepare.
Done.
No, we need to prepare, because
you don't trust your talent.
No, it's not a matter of not trusting your talent, but I'm glad this came up first.
Do this up when you trust your talent.
Because sometimes trusting your talent is not enough to appease the masses.
What are you talking about, Aaron?
I'm 100% sure. Well, let me preempt this. On Saturday night, during the coverage of the single band finals at Skinner Park in San Fernando, small band finals, at Skinner Park in San Fernando, where Tiantec, Eastside Dimension, and Golden Hands would have tied for the 2025 title. Congratulations to the arrangers, Chris Ramsey, and WACK's very own, and not just WACK, San Fernando's very own, Vanessa Headley Brewster, right, on winning the small band title for 2025. Right? While at that coverage, we would have had the privilege, Marcus and I, of interviewing Senator, the Honorable Randall Mitchell, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts of Trinidad and Tobago. And if you're living under a rock, you probably don't know that the steel pan was, one, accepted as our national instrument in 2024, and two, that the image of the steel pan has now replaced the 3 ships on the coat of arms. So the 12 notes of the steel pan replaced the 3 ships. Right?
I made a mistake.
What?
I want to start over. Like the P this week, it's a P-Rog.
No, that's actually a very sensitive one, because I don't know if you followed the news over the weekend, Ricardo. P-Rog was found on the east coast of Trinidad by the Coast Guard with some decomposing bodies on it. So I think P-Rog would not be
appropriate.
Appropriate, yeah.
Why, Aaron? Because it was found, or because it was lost after it was found?
Either way.
Well played.
You
very deftly avoided that trap that I had set for you.
I'm learning.
So what you're telling me is that it would be frowned upon to use any of the ghost ship references that I was going to make this episode.
Please, please.
Please refrain.
Please refrain. One of the
your face is kidding me. You are trying. You are trying.
I'm trying really hard. Because one of the P's next week could be for progression as well.
What progression? Yeah. Like as in a musical escalation? No.
Progression in terms of the fact that I'm no longer falling for your quips.
You know what? You're welcome. I've thoroughly prepared you for navigating the perils and wait, how about wording? When I remember it, I will use it. I got 13 while back. We talk about like kiss cake or something, and I'll just throw out precarity or precariousness.
I have not had a kiss cake, as I said. Anyway,
here's the scene. What would it take to get some of these people, some of these entities to start sponsoring ads on WACK and that kind of thing, to get a little bit of the corporate world to invest in the culture on this level?
We'll get to that after, because that's actually one of my other things.
It's like I'm in your head, bro.
Right. So we would have interviewed the Minister of Tourism on Saturday night, and Marcus and I would have thanked him for the role that his ministry would have played in, one, the investment in terms of into Trinbago sponsoring, giving donations to the unsponsored bands, as well as the usual subvention for the hosting of Panorama, and right. 2, the investment that they are making in the Ultimate Soca Champion. If you don't know what that is the replacement, and I use that term very loosely, the replacement for Soca Monarch.
Rome them party?
Not party, competition.
Okay.
Because Rome, despite that, he's also a promoter that hosts events too. Right?
Noted.
Right? So we would have spoken to him about that. But why I started with that is because the public now has not been pleased with the images that have been released. And Ricardo and I are both service providers of things that we have to deal with clients for, right? So Ricardo would deal with artwork and graphics, and I deal with music and mixes and voicing and stuff like that. If you are not guided properly on what you are asked to produce, and you produce what you deem to be your best, that's a recipe for disaster. Even worse, if you produce multiple samples of that work and the person picks the one that's a little shaky, then it's not your fault as a provider. And I think shaky is the wrong term. You pick the one that of all that's not what you wanted for the choice, but you had to provide samples. Go ahead, Rasp.
Yeah, you just say go ahead, rat.
Rasp.
Oh, rasp. It sounds like you call me a rat.
Why would I do that?
I was wondering how we get there so quickly. I haven't called you anything for the episode yet. Anyway,
I said a rasp.
I have done client work for several years now. What I can tell you is that often the work that the vendor provides, the best work that the vendor provides might not necessarily be the work that the client chooses. Oftentimes, the best presentation by the vendor, the client not having the understanding or the vision or even a basic grasp of the functionality of that thing, might want it to look a particular way even if it doesn't work well. One of the 3 most loathed words in graphic design is make it bigger. We have a mindset that bigger is always better,
or bigger is clearer.
Make the logo bigger, put the number bigger, put this, put that, put the other. People with no understanding of hierarchy or spacing, people who have no idea of how readability works. All people want is bigger, brighter, shinier, more colorful, per gradient, all of these things. I have done work that I am so ashamed of. I have never publicly acknowledged that I did it because the client got what the client wanted, but I wasn't pleased with it. It was a transaction where you paid me for what would please you versus you paying me for what works best for you. Sometimes the client wants what the client wants regardless of your advice. I firmly believe in a space like this with our coat of arms. I don't want to call it a redesign because it wasn't a complete redesign, to swap out an element. You have what's the point of a coat of arms right now as a republic? Anyway, moving on. You have this, I don't want to call it archaic, but you do have an older piece of artwork with certain elements of the artwork that were in use for its purpose at the time. You are now looking to replace one of those elements of this artwork. You are going to have to replace it with something that looks like the other elements. So that would mean similar grading and scaling, and you're not allowed to use a classic piece and suddenly you have a modern steel pan that don't look like any of the elements of the other things. So it starts off looking dated already. Go ahead.
No, you answered the question I was going to ask with that last statement. So
it starts off looking dated because one is a coat of arms, and 2, they didn't redesign a coat of arms for, based on what today's trends are and preferences and even use. Like I could just imagine how frustrating it is for somebody to embroider a coat of arms onto a polo jersey or a hat or something, right? But anyway, the bottom line is that regardless of what that designer produced, I am pretty certain that whoever had the final say might have gone with what they liked the most or were advised versus what the designer presented as the best work. The spacing on that already tells you that somebody had a make it bigger mindset, right? Just the fact that there's these gradients and that kind of thing is I know, depending on the eye that you look at it with, you will be pleased, you will be pretty certain that you could have done it yourself and better, or you might just acknowledge the process and recognize that the reason this woman has taken this stance is partially because, as somebody who has done work for people, you know you're not going to please everybody anyway, and she probably was not excited about the option that they chose, so she took listen, Oleka upset me with this. I did what was requested of me, and what they did after that is up to them. And I could understand that position. Right? All I'm saying is a step forward, but why we need a coat of arms again?
It's a national emblem.
Why we need it for?
I don't know. Let me Google coat of arms of.
Does every country have a coat of arms?
Coat of arms,
right,
around the world.
Right, so what I say, if you wanted to redesign the thing, all right, so you take off the ships, but you still have the helmet on it. You know, you still have
all 195 countries have a coat of arms.
Have a coat of arms?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
Well, look at that. Right. And good, at the end of the day too, you're allowed to have discourse on things that you may not know everything about, but you're interested in finding out. My whole thing is regarding the graphic design aspect of it. It was already a problematic situation to walk into.
And I'm going to say that, and to reiterate and reinforce some of the stuff you just said, Ricardo. It's like if you have an old jersey, and they go in and put a new print on it. Sometimes it is better to purchase a new jersey to put a brand new print.
Right.
Because the jersey going and look a little washout. Your black jersey going and look a version of dark ash black. But you have a brand new logo on it.
Case in point here. Sorry, let me just support that point with an illustration here. I would say sorry to cut you off, but then I would not have, and I wouldn't bother to apologize for it. But I'm just going to go with this because I want to emphasize the ridiculousness of our redesign sometimes. You know those 4-pocket shirts that doctors used to wear in the 80s, 90s? Yeah, with the 2 pockets up here and then the 2 pockets lower down on the front.
I have a shirt like that now. I can't see
the pockets have pleats.
Yeah.
And it's normally short sleeve shirts with the collar and the 2 pockets, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Imagine using that style of shirt, right? And then you put in a modern, ministry of something or another logo on it, and it does normally have the splashes and the dynamic look. It is not going to match because the style then, plus in combination with the modern style now, is already a conflict.
No, and this is my thing, As people, as the populace of Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of us tend to look at everything with such a negative light that we don't appreciate the progress being made. Right? The inclusion of the national instrument, which is the only acoustic instrument created in the 20th century on our coat of arms, it should be celebrated, it should be feted. However, the process of including it now makes it a difficult one because, I wonder, as a graphic artist, if something was created in 1962, you think we still had the original file?
No.
So then basically the file that we may have used, and I'm assuming here, the file that we may have used is a remake of a remake of a remake of a remake of a remake.
I kind of get where you're going with it, but here the catch. What kind of file are you talking about?
Well, I don't know what computer graphics program you would have used in 1962.
That is the point I want to get at. What was a computer in 1962? Yeah, the file that you're talking about, Aaron, would have been hand-drawn. It would have been hand-drawn, and whatever copies of that hand-drawn, hand-designed with your protractors and your compasses and your T-squares and
your divider. Don't forget the divider.
Right. The whole geometry kit, the geometry pan. Yeah.
Right.
That it would have been hand-drawn. So if you're talking about a file, we're not talking about an electronic file here. You might have an electronic copy of the image, but the file might have actually been on some form of paper or something like that.
On parchment paper that when you layer it together, that's it. Oh, sorry, I've gone too far there.
I know,
but
that's
no, but red.
What was the name of that thing? We'll go with
National Treasure, like when the maps, Indiana
Treasure,
Jones and all that. But I went a little far. I went a little far there, but what I'm trying to say, guys, is I understand that there are things that happen which we as a populace are not pleased about, or that we are not in agreement with. But sometimes we have to take into account that the price of progress is high. As King Austin said, the price of progress is high. So not every decision that is made is going to appease everybody. The coat of arms is not a boneless goat roti. Not everybody go and like the new design.
Well, I like to tell you, a beef roti with pumpkin.
Yeah, lost my that pumpkin talk.
Anyway, sorry, I have a moment.
Yeah, but you'll catch what I'm saying. It's not going to please everybody. But we also have to take into consideration that maybe personal preference, just like how Ricardo and I differ on the football teams we support, but we both love the sport.
I don't know how much I love it anymore, but go ahead.
Yeah, it really losing its footballness.
All sports losing the sportsness since betting becomes so. Anyway, there's a whole lot of.
Yeah, that whole next conversation. But really and truly, guys, the progress is being made for us to establish our identity, our national identity, our pride in what is ours. Let us be thankful for those steps being made and hope that those that are in the positions to select what options are put forward to portray that pride make them from a place of what is best for the holistic country and not just this is what I like.
Let me ask you a question.
Lush, all right. I hate when they do that.
We in 2025, right?
Sometimes.
2020.
Still in January. We still ain't reached Joshua January yet.
Yeah, for real. But it is close. We in 2025. We are in an age where gathering information and applying it to a situation is supposed to be so much easier than it was before. Why, if this is a national emblem representing our a change for our identity going forward, while we would have been involved in the discussion to do so, why weren't we involved in the final stage of the selection process? I think it would have been an excellent move to create buy-in if we presented 2 or 3 of the final options and asked the country to log on to this, that, or the other site and place your vote as a citizen with your ID card number or your DP or your passport, and just what is your choice? So then we could say 60% of the population, of the voting population, chose this, and that is the mechanism we had in place. That is what we are going with. Don't you think it would have been more fun to run that for about a month or so? It's like which pan, pick your pan kind of.
Pick a pan.
You could have called it pick a pan and done.
Bring back, and that would have brought some nostalgic effect for the elderly who remember what pick a pan meant to them.
Could have print some jerseys saying which pan you were picking, right? It would have been a nice thing to look back on in 20 years and realize it was a cultural exercise.
But you know what else could have happened too? A lot of us have registered businesses now. The OPR is a thing. I don't know which committee it is, so I'll just say the National Emblems Committee. They could have put out a message to all the companies that are OPR registered and graphic designers, and they could have done a competition.
I disagree with that.
Okay, cool.
I completely disagree with those types of competitions on the basis that having submitted whatever your submission is now becomes the property of the person who owns the competition. Competitions are a way of gathering as much people's work for as little a payout as possible.
Interesting.
So anytime you see, submit a design for this, that, or the other, and you might win a prize at $1,000, at $10,000, whatever. But you would have gotten people spending time in a lottery.
Okay, I understand that.
And then you could still take all of these submissions that were made and use them in your ads. You could use them in the future. Right. I don't like those.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But
I just think there was a way to engage more of the public in the final decision. So you know how fun it would have been, right? To have jerseys that you could have gone, you could have purchased a jersey in support of whichever one, and the funds go to something or another. And you have your two final designs and you're choosing which one of them. What I mean is there are ways that you could have made this a lot more interactive and publicly engaging, and as significant as it was, we were handed a coat of arms before, and now we are handed one again. So what's the whole point of this being
a democracy?
Iconic and democracy, and
I understand all the points expressed, and I do also accept that the competition aspect, I didn't consider that part of it. So thank you very much for that point being stated there, Ricardo.
That's like you as a DJ, they're saying like, hey, we're calling all Caribbean DJs to submit your hour-long mixes, right? To this competition, and the winner gonna win a contract on a cruise ship, right?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And now they have 1,000 or 10,000 hours of DJs mixes
to play on the same cruise ship and then hire nobody.
And only hire one person. If
they didn't hire nobody.
Oh, true. They get a contract when I had to get something.
But then they could just come and say all the work which we received was substandard, and we would be putting this back out to tender later down.
I know that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
That's a whole
but anyhow,
but let's talking about the challenge of competitions for.
Yeah, but I also remember doing that in my earlier days as a DJ. I would have submitted a mix to some hotel, I remember, and when I went to the same hotel for vacation a couple of years later, I heard him explain. Just to blank out my name. So, anyway,
with no apology.
Yeah, the carnival. So that was the thing with the coat of arms. This Sunday coming, it is one of my favorite panorama competitions for the season coming up. Ricardo is proudly wearing the jersey of our alma mater, San Fernando Boys RC School, that's located at Harris Promenade in San Fernando. They are currently running second in the primary school division of that competition, the junior panorama. So if you are able to on Sunday, wake up early. I had to stress this one because, this Sunday I wouldn't be able to make anyhow, right? Wake up early on Sunday and head to the savannah, because you are going to be treated to a day of beautiful steel band by our young people. And when I say early, reach there before 9 a.m. because if you reach after 9, the chances of you getting in start to diminish. So if this was a graph and this is 9 a.m. here, your chances going like this. By 12 noon, The stand's full.
Yeah, and not pornographic and just symbolize you during that line. No, I ain't going through all of that. What I do want to know,
I don't want you to.
As somebody who is so much more versed in the mechanics and the back end of these things, is it appropriate for me to suggest that anybody who wants to support San Fernando Boys RC School in terms of the funding or whatever other forms of support that they might need to participate, that they contact the school? Or is that considered soliciting? Are you allowed to solicit funds for something like this? Are they allowed to be sponsored?
That's the thing. So I would broaden it by saying the Ministry of Education would have published the results of the competition, the various levels of their competitions, which is the primary school and the secondary schools. Mm-hmm. If you are within the community, within the community of the schools, reach out to the respective persons at the schools, the music teachers or the principals, and see how you could help.
Well, look at that.
Right? I know that both of us are past students of Boys RC. I know that our second alma mater, Presentation College, would have entered in the secondary school category, but I don't think they were successful to make it to the finals. But head to the Savannah on Sunday if you can. Mm-hmm. Take in a day of pan. Carry your kids. Your children. My apologies. Carry your children.
Yeah, I get to that the other day.
Yeah, carry your children to the Savannah, because this is how we continue to show pride in what is ours, by supporting it.
No, I'm gonna name this episode now.
What are you gonna call it? Pride?
Pride, no apologies.
Oh, anyway.
Actually, I'm just gonna call it no apologies.
Yeah.
You know,
we could call it no apologies.
Why Noah?
I don't know, because it says like no apologies one time now.
But why Noah? The ship sinking? Oh my gosh, the ark and the coat of arms and the boats and the Aaron at Israel Heights. Somebody had a good meal this morning.
I actually did not have lunch yet for the day.
So that gas talking.
Yeah, boy. Fresh gas. But let me just finish with Sunday, please, Cardo.
Anyway, go ahead.
Let me just finish with Sunday, Cardo.
You do it, big man.
If you can't make it to the Savannah on Sunday, WACK.tv will be doing a broadcast, and donations will be welcome. Cool. So, pride. Show your pride with donations as well. Because you asked earlier about how corporate Trinidad could get involved in supporting the culture.
Yeah.
Most of them do. Because if you're a business owner, just a free piece of advice. If you support the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, you could write it off as a tax expense.
And get back how much?
And get back 200 to 300%. Just a free piece of business advice there. Support the culture.
Noted.
You could claim it back.
You know, let me register a business and put all this work I've been doing for WACK as culture.
No, you can't do that.
Well, I'm building up a DJ who representing the culture. No?
We'll talk about that after the program, because it has some intricacies of that part. Or we'll do an actual show on taxes.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Because they never teach us how to do that in school. But you know, I could tell you, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. I can tell you that. But they never teach me how many times, Aaron, have you used Pythagoras' theorem in real life? And
twice.
Definitely. I mean, we even use it on the Crossney Road. It's Trinidad. Anyway.
All right. So when we go back to the individuals like you and I, Ricardo, supporting the culture, WACK.tv is here for that. We have the pay-per-view streams from the majority of the major cultural events through the carnival. We also do some free broadcasts where donations are welcome. The donations support WACK as well as the institutions. So we clamor that the corporate Trinidad not supporting. But if we stay to depend on corporate Trinidad and Tobago for anything, we will stay and wait like I'm waiting for my hairline to come back. Right?
You're seeing that vein on the side of your forehead too, so it's like waiting in vain.
Okay, Bob.
It's not my best work.
Yeah.
I thought of something profound, Aaron, and now I forgot what it was.
Okay, well, while you continue to recap the profound or try to recall the profound, I just want to let you know that Mr. Mack is well. He would have attended Kaiser Showcase, their second show in Creative Arts Center, and he was in the front row, and he was well.
When we going?
A bit shaken up.
When are we going?
When are we going? Boy, I don't know. We had to find some time because we had to find the time. We'll make it happen because I actually want to do Kaiser Showcase and the new tent that is in Radisson. Yeah, that would have been previously Kaiser House, and they rebranded it. And the reason why I want to go that tent in town is because, you know why? Young brother is in a Calypso tent.
That's why I want to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they're going to scream like Joshy.
Young brother. I just...
Sorry, that was terrible. That was terrible of me. I apologize.
I'm not touching that. What I am going to say is it just occurred to me. I just threw in this idea out there. Somebody could probably run with it. And because I have it on record here, I'll take my percentage afterwards. A Spanish Calypso house called Kaiser Casa. Yeah? No? Kaiser Casa? Calypso? Cantantas? Canciones? No? Right. So, all that glitters is not gold. Let's move on. There was a P word for something.
2.5%.
Wait, percentage going up, you know. Oh my gosh, it was profound. What was it? It was something very, very profound. It was important too. Or should I interrupt you now?
Yeah, you should have.
What you could do? Oh, okay. I think I just remember. I just remembered, Aaron. When you were talking about gas. Let us take a moment to keep Trinidad and Tobago's economic future in prayer. And the reason I'm saying that is because with the ascension to office of one North American president, several things have been disrupted globally and are going to be further disrupted globally. Right? And while I am not looking to doom and gloom the thing, we do have to remember that our Dragon Gas arrangement is with a prime minister who might not be recognized by one of our largest trading partners. So let us keep our country in prayer. We should always keep our country in prayer. But just a reminder that there are really significant things that are going on this outside of Carnival and the SOE and this and that and the other. There are things happening. Yeah, see the other day a man in a full army uniform get arrested for robbing a grocery in Tobago.
No. Yeah. But I don't watch the news.
No, that news I wasn't watching that news. That news come to me, yes.
Oh.
Well, I'm saying is things are happening, things are popping. Just stay prayed up. You know, we seeing that despite the increased powers of arrest and the stop and search and all of those things, while there are some inroads into crime, there are still some very disturbing things making headlines. Right, so just remember to stay prayed up.
As you mentioned, stop and search. Saturday night after Panorama, I decided to take the long way home. Right? Because I was trying to mix up the routes that I take to go home.
Mix up as in change them up or mix up as in confuse them?
No, change them. Regularly rotate them. right? As one should, because you don't want anybody just following you. Home, right? I reached St. Clement's Junction, and there was a police vehicle parked there, and he was randomly stopping vehicles. This was around 2:30 in the morning. And while I was approaching the junction, he flashed his lights at me. So I got them mine. So I pulled up and I stopped just adjacent to his vehicle. He looked in the car and he asked me if everything was okay. I said, yes, officer, I'm fine. He's like, where you coming from? It's like, Skinner Park. He said, we're heading Skinner Park. I was like, Panorama. He's like, hey, you went and listened to that noise? Who tell he say that?
You take your badge number?
Nah, I didn't do that. But I took the opportunity to just remind him that the steel band is our national instrument. And though you may not like the sound of it,
Put some
you should
respect on that.
put some respect on it, right? And he was like, okay, he understands. However, he would never work a Panorama unless he's paid to do so. At that point, I just said, have a nice night, officer.
I bid you good night. Good night, good sir.
And
Yeah.
proceeded along my way. And the reason why I recant that conversation is because a lot of persons tend to speak negatively about the discourse with police if they object to something they are asked or something that is said during an interaction. But sometimes it's not as the old people say. What you say is how you say it. So please be mindful that due to that, the fact that there is an SOE that is currently prevailing on nation.
I would say in place. I know how prevailing, but
Yeah, but right, the SOE that's currently in place, these officers are working longer hours, sometimes 12-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts, and stuff like that. So just I don't want to say be docile, but be mindful of that in the interactions with them. Because sometimes the frustration that they're taking out on you might just be tiredness. It might be a ready to go home and sleep. It might be a hungry. It doesn't give them the right to act out those frustrations on you. But meeting frustration with more frustration is not going to make it better.
That's just frustration squared.
Yeah, F squared.
Yeah,
Right?
so two things. One, General trouble to make this square.
Brother man, don't hurt up your thumb, please.
I can't play video games, right? Anyway, two things. In the interest of our holding each other accountable for erroneous information, when you said recant just now, I think you meant recount, right? Because to recant is to withdraw or disprove a statement,
yes,
and recount is to tell a story. So, just in terms of letting all you know that there are a lot of radio announcers and media personalities have been taken to task for coming across as being uneducated and illiterate and all those types of things. Guys, let's extend some grace. I will admit, as someone who came into this space absent training, that I have a learning curve. But even in that, there is a way that we speak locally, colloquially, that is Trinidadianese, right? Or Trinbagonian, if you want to even be more inclusive of the dialect, and not even dialect, but of the language that we speak, right? Trinbagonian English is not the Queen's English.
Correct.
Right? There is a way that we speak that allows for some leeway. At the end of the day, if you're just grammatically incorrect, if you're just vocabularily
What's a vocabulary?
vocabularily corrupted, I get it. There's room for correction, but let's be a little easier in terms of these are people who are just sharing sometimes the layman's perspective, even if they're in a professional capacity. It does not mean that because you have a mic, you're supposed to be an authority on everything that you speak on. And if we were to only speak on the things of which we were an authority, then many of us would not be listening to a lot of the radio that is played, a lot of the commentary that is run. In fact, if we were to reserve that to extend it to even our private conversations, and we only spoke on the things that we were authorities, then we would never learn anything. So what I'm saying is,
we wouldn't be having conversations, period.
Right. Because you could only talk if you know everything. And if you know everything, you can't talk to somebody who don't know. Let's be a little, you don't have to be so crass with criticism sometimes. And I know that I could be a critic.
Yes, you can.
We could demand better of the people who in platform and public spaces without belittling and diminishing them, right? And let us also acknowledge the very, sad reality that there are different audiences for the different content. Some of these guys have followings. Those stations are getting corporate sponsorship and ad airtime and ad space being sold at ridiculous amounts because they have listeners. So if you don't like something, you are very, very well able to change the station and put it on WACK 90.1 FM, where we are culture crazy, where while we don't always know everything that we're talking about, we have an interest in learning, and that the growth process is a collective one. The preservation of our culture means we also have to acknowledge that things are going to change, right? The voices and the delivery that you heard in the 60s and 70s and 80s, you can't want us to establish our own identity and also cling to the cultural identity that was handed to you by someone else. There's room for both to coexist.
And as you say that, let me pull it a little closer to something I was reading over the weekend.
Garfield? Sorry.
No.
Go ahead. Listening. Actively listening. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Leave and cleave.
Go
right? Where there are times when you have to leave to be able to progress, to be able to take that next step. You would have to leave certain things behind and cleave to something else. Wow. I don't know what happened there. I just said leave and cleave, and all of a sudden music started playing on my laptop. Leave
and Cleave is our song. There's Trini good music or something. What is
it happened again? It's a good thing it's not but what's it? Is that a joke now?
Well, I'm not hearing it, so.
Oh, okay. Right. But what I'm trying to say is you want persons to maintain that level of similarity to what would have been you grew up with. But sometimes you have to leave that behind for you to be able to embrace the now.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it behind. Cleave to the values which you would have grown up with. But leave the ideal that this has to move forward through time. Leave that idea there. I hope all they're following, man.
Because Aaron868 on Instagram.
No, on my thought process here, that you have to leave the idea that things are not supposed to change behind.
Let me ask you, I know I am all for preservation to a degree.
As am I.
And
you all know that so well.
Right. I firmly believe we should rename some of these streets, right? And you know what we could do in renaming the street? We could have the new name and formerly known as in small font underneath.
I agree with that, yeah.
Right? We could remove some of these statues from the public places and put them in a museum. Right? Fine.
Yeah. Nobody's done go museum, so yeah, put it there.
Right? Put it. Right?
Hey.
But what I'm saying is y'all are not listening to us on phonographs. Right? Nobody's watching black and white televisions and then big box TV.
On AM 730.
right? What I'm saying is we are moving forward, and the principle suggests that we are capable of moving forward as better is made available to us. I'm not saying that everything from the past should be discarded. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that there is a space for preservation and there is a space for progress. We cannot be talking about post-colonial this, post-colonial that, and you're measuring everything with a colonial measuring stick.
Mm-hmm.
I do recognize that there are times that I should use my INGs and my THs. However, there are times when I could also just talk the way we just talk now.
You understand?
Right? While to Trinis listening, oh, why do I have to talk like that? There are Trinis outside who are listening and they love the fact that they can hear some Trinbagonian English. That they could hear the twang, that they could hear the lilt.
They could hear it spoken in their vernacular.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's a space for progress, there's a space for preservation. Yeah, so which is why I'm not beaten up if I hear that young brother in our tent.
No, right. And you know, fittingly enough, yesterday morning, I was going through my Facebook memories, and the memory of Marshall singing at the Divas tent last year came up.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was up in arms as to why Marshall entered the Calypso and whatever. But succession planning in the culture is an important thing.
Yeah.
How much longer if you chop us can't sing forward?
I was saying, Mr. Liverpool, we rate you, but at the end of the day...
Sorry, Dr. Hollis Liverpool.
Sorry, Dr. Liverpool, I presume. It's what I did there. Right,
Yeah.
I get it, but it is not Mr. Shaq can do all the only, he can be the only Calypsonian for the next 30 or 40 years.
That's right.
Shaq, what's the name? Bailey, young Bailey, Shalon. Them, what I mean is that the legacy had to continue also through people whose parents weren't legacy members. Right?
Sure.
Let me not gatekeep. Let me not gatekeep as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Now, we get perilously close to the hour of 7 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we just want to remind you that the upkeep of our culture is not a government responsibility. It's we responsibility. Right? If you don't know where to find information on the culture, you could go on Google and search Panorama 2025. You could go on Google and search Kaiso tent near you. Because beside the big tents, we have community tents as well. But if you just want to find out everything we're going on in the culture, just tune into WACK 90.1 FM. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend.
You featuring any music to wrap up?
Yeah, Curry's Pascal by Tears.
Tears?
Tears.
Got you, man.
Yeah,
Hey, guys. Before Aaron does that thing, I just want to point out to Aaron868, my dear friend and brother and colleague, that San Fernando Boys RSC's rendition of Dingole is what propelled them into that second place. And I'm pretty certain it would have been first if there was not South Band. Anyway, let me not start that. Sorry,
brother man, a South Band now win Panorama.
I'm going to delete that actually. I'm not going to make any divisive statements.
No, you could leave that there. You know why? Because for the first time in a very long while, of the top 4 bands, 3 of them hail from South Trinidad.
Yeah.
Golden Hands, the Southern Stars, that is South Band from Superior, and Fusion Steel. 3 of the top 4 bands from South.
And Holy Faith Convent Penal won school Panorama last year, right?
Yeah, and they're in 7th place now to defend the title. Playing a big tune from South, Pan by Storm.
At the end of the day, from Trinidad and Tobago, we are all Southerners.
See what you did there. This is yours truly, the Aaron868. I remind you each and every time that culture is my code. And I also tell you that love is the currency. So spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys. I'll try my best to be back on the Fridays as soon as possible. All right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is yours truly, Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the glow stage. Thanking you for joining us to the living room. Remember, guys, our glass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good, stay safe, and walk with your umbrella, because clearly dry season didn't get Met Office memo.
The Aaron dry season is for real.
Oh, look at you.
Keep it locked, Mr. Desmond. It's up next with Kaiso Kaiso.
Power, where our leaders grandstand, filling their pockets with dollars while treating the people like sand. Living to serve the nation, yet their vision is flawed. The masses suffer in silence, their voices go unheard. Corruption has the rich keep amassing more in their ivory towers, safe from the uproar. Surrounds them in such lavish display, but an absence of compassion as they lead the masses astray. Promise after promise, only illusions they weave, but in the hallway of power, the truth means to deceive. He got widens between the haves and have-nots, while the leaders splurge and food always. But education's a privilege and not a universal right.